Welcome to video 3 in our Imagine Perfect Unity teaching series. This session, we're going to be looking at the gifting of apostle. Before we dive in, I do want to recommend to you a book called Building a Discipling Culture by Mike Breen. A lot of the first part here of the content about the gift that we're sharing here and in the next few videos comes from that text. And in fact, we've bought several copies here at FCC, and if you'd like a free copy, as supplies last, so don't hold me to this, but as long as you first come, first serve, we'll get that to you. The apostle gifting is near and dear to my heart because it happens to be my personal gifting. And if you know me well, you'll pick that up pretty quick as we start talking about what apostles are. Well, the word apostle in the original New Testament language, which is Greek, is the word apostolos, which literally translates the one who is sent out. Apostles are visionaries. They are pioneering, trailblazing, always looking to take new ground. They're the people that like to start new stuff. They like newness. They like to build from the ground up. They like to innovate. They are idea machines, and they are dreamers. In the Bible, some examples of people who have that gifting include Paul, Priscilla, and Aquila. In the world, most often we find apostles are entrepreneurs or explorers or some kind of builder. The big question that an apostle is always asking is, are we leading God's people toward the place where He has called them? Apostles are most often leaders, or at least trying to be leaders, usually out front, and statistically, this is the rarest gift. Now, that's not because they're more important than other giftings at all, but rather because they can be hard to deal with, and you can't have too many of them in one group, or they will drive each other and everyone else absolutely crazy. They can be intense. If we think about the church as a group of pioneers, as a wagon train, for example, the apostle is the one out front, calling out the heading, always talking about that destination and the gold in them their hills, and sharing the vision for how we're going to get there and what it will be like when we do. An immature apostle, someone not well aware of their gifting or not mature just in their faith or in the Holy Spirit, will struggle to differentiate between all of these dreams and ideas and to be able to tell which ones are really from God and which ones are just their own kind of machinations. They end up having a new idea every week, and they ultimately fail because a plan never develops, because they get bored and they want to move on to the next thing. And when that happens, people stop eventually following those immature apostles because they're seen as tyrannical, always pushing towards something, a lot of excitement up front, but then they switch up direction constantly, and people tire of that. Apostles who aren't mature can also quite unintentionally sort of run over people because they value the taking of new ground so much that they begin to see individuals as cogs in a machine. And they can come off as extremely not caring and certainly not caring for a single person. Mature apostles are vital, as are all the gifts, but apostles because they keep the church moving forward toward what God has for her. They bring vision, they bring excitement and direction so that the rest of the church knows what they are working toward together. Well, let's talk for a moment about what apostles need from you. They need help discerning dreams and visionary ideas which are truly from God, and they need help with the timing of implementing said vision. Otherwise, they'll go crazy with 100 new ideas every year and nothing will get done. They need help with details, generally. They need everyday help. They need people who can do tasks and jobs that the apostle doesn't often think about, although they probably know that they are important. If we go back for a moment to that wagon train illustration, the apostle out front giving direction needs people reminding him or her that, hey, before we head into the Rocky Mountains this winter, we need to make sure that everyone has a coat. And they need people who are in charge of the coats and distributing the coats. They'll get bored with that. They're excited about the storm and the mountain. Thirdly, they need reminders that people are important. Sometimes it's good or okay to slow down. And they also need reminders, or rather they need to be told when they are treating people like cogs and they need to apologize and back up. Also, they need freedom to cast vision. You can't rein them in. Oftentimes, apostles aren't the main leader of a church positionally. In fact, most of the best pastors I know or know of are not apostles. And so apostles need space to be what God has made them, space to cast vision, especially if they're not in the position that does that in the church. They still need a place where they can be heard if they are mature in their walk and their gifting, and they often need an outlet, a ministry, or a direction to run. Think about them like the dog, a husky, a Siberian husky. Those aren't good lap dogs. They're not really wired to be in a little backyard in town. They need space to run. Same idea with apostles. They need something to run with. Well, I want to close with a reminder that all the fivefold gifts are equally important. And as you continue in the series, you're going to see how God has beautifully woven together the gifts to make the church work the way He intends. It's time now to move on to the next video number 4, where we talk about the gift of the prophet.